Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Outpost Review. We've got the chickens finally, and I had purchased 10 hens, and then my neighbor had actually gave me a rooster. They were a cross of Rhode Island Red. 5 of them were black, and the other ones were primarily, well, I say black and brown, then the other ones were red, sort of reddish brown and white. I had 2 that passed away. I think it doesn't appear like anything got in there. I think what happened was they may have ganged up. The rooster may have pecked on them somewhat. He's had a habit of sitting on this perch right here. Well, I say perch, up at the very top of the ladder, and he would sit down there, and then in the evening when they would try to come up the little ladder, he would peck at them and basically shoo them off. So not really sure if, and then some of the other hens were a little bit more aggressive than others, but the 2 that passed away were the dark ones. So not really sure what happened, but I think maybe they may have ganged up on each other, and maybe that was the reason, because I have looked and searched and tried to find a reason or a place where something may have got in, and can't find anything. So not really sure, but anyway, they seem to be happy. I've been pulling up a lot of different plants and throwing them in there, and they just clean them up. We fed them watermelon. They really love that. So I think that they are enjoying themselves, and I think they're starting to get used to this little house now. The first couple of nights I actually had to physically take them off the ramp because they wanted to squat on the ramp, and I had to put them on the perch inside of the roosts. And then in the daytime, up into the day, they were still in there. I physically took them down, and did that for probably 3 nights, maybe 4, and now they are going in and out themselves. Now last night I didn't go in to see if they were actually on the roost, but they are going in the house. So they will eventually find it. I was actually taking time to cut my cilantro back because it was trying to actually bloom and make a head. So they say that it tastes bad if you don't do that. My cucumbers have finally taken off, so it won't be long. I probably need to go down and get some more cane and put these up so they'll grow vertical. But yeah, everything is primarily looking good, with the exception of the cabbage, the cauliflower, and the broccoli. I sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and still couldn't keep the worms off of it. I think maybe possibly we've had so much rain. We've had a solid probably 7 days of rain. Every time I come out, the worms will be back on the leaves again. And I cut out some of the bad portions, hoping that the rest of the leaves would fare well and do good, but I don't know. I do have some cauliflower though that's actually coming out. Here, I'll show you. So they have really done a number. This is the one that they were picking on, and this one right here was doing so well. And then it just seemed like overnight that they had just stripped those leaves. But I don't find any on here this morning. but I do have some broccoli in that one. Let me see if I can show you that. Yeah, not so sure about the cabbage and how well it's going to do. Maybe next year I can try something different. I was trying the liquid form of fertilized instead of the, like, you know, the 7 dust, but it just didn't seem to do as well, and so I may go back to the dust again next year, or I may go ahead and try to get some and prevent. I can see some crawling on that cabbage over there right now. The peppers are doing well. I've actually got peppers right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to have to come through here and pull some peppers, it looks like. The onions, they're doing well. They're actually, bulbs on them are about like that, even though they were onion sets. But they're doing well. The corn, it's doing extremely well. I think that the corn really likes this type soil, and so do the tomatoes. So we should have quite a few ears of sweet corn. And the tomatoes and the beans, they're going crazy too. I've said it before, I don't remember what type of bean I planted down here, but it is a real runner. These over here actually have green beans on them that I need to pick because I have heard that if you pick them when they're early like that, then it will cause them to even produce more. But yeah, I've got beans already, and there's several over there. I haven't noticed really any on these plants yet, but it won't be long. But those beans over there in that section actually have beans. The tomatoes, they're actually having a grand old time. I've actually got tomatoes in there probably about this size already. They're hard to see because they're the same, you know, color as the plant, but they are in there, and it's not going to be just a few more days and I'm going to have to go up another time with the string. This is twice already, about 12 inches apart, so yeah, they're getting tall. They're right at waist high already. So yeah, so if you guys, if you have any tips or tricks on how to keep the worms out of the cabbage, the broccoli, the cauliflower, things of that nature, be sure and leave me a comment down there, and maybe my son or daughter might pick up on it, and we'll give it a shot. Because like I said, maybe it was just switching to the liquid spray this year that caused me to be overrun with the worms. I'm not really sure, but you know, normally in ages past, basically, we would use 7 dust, but I tried to use something that was a little bit different this year, but it appears like it's not working. And a lot of this, you know, being working on the cabin and having a lot of other projects, you know, I would tend to come out here and make sure that it was watered every other day, but then when we started getting lots of rain, I didn't really come out here a lot, and that appears like when they really went to town on that cabbage. So yeah, if you got any tips or tricks, be sure and let me know and we'll give it a shot. Well, the upgrades that I have made to the kitchen, I really like, especially this door right here and this shelf. This is so handy because it keeps things up off the countertop. Of course, I'm going to try to get some hooks where I can hang my cups in up underneath there, and I would like to make something. This is my grandmother's old roller. I'd like to hang it up there somewhere, and to just make some more room, you know, like I said, for the countertop right here. I made this new cutting board. You've probably seen me working on that in the last video. I really like that. That's really nice. I'll just put these up right here because that's the one that I'm going to use. But this right here, it does keep the wood, you know, in case it was to fall and fall this way, which never really had any close calls, but it would keep it in there. So it's nice to be able to lay this down. Now I did have a comment, why didn't I do it this way? Well, if I did it this way, it's probably only going to come out to about right here. So there really wasn't any room to swing it wide, and if I did that, it's just a much larger opening. You know, this is much shorter distance to travel. So, and then closing up the rocket stove over there where it concentrates the heat more, it will heat that pot up a whole lot quicker. But yeah, this seems to work real well. Now I haven't really built a fire on a windy day. That was another primary reason that I put this on here, because with an open back and an open front, whenever the wind would blow relatively strong, the flame of course would go sideways, and there wouldn't be that much heat coming straight up, which, you know, this is your cooking surface. So by closing that back up and mounting this on the front, it cuts a lot of that wind down, so the heat tends to come up. And what I used was, I just used a scrap fire brick that I had, and the way that they laid in there, I really couldn't put a joint in between them, but I put them in there as tight as I could. It does have mud on the top and bottom of the brick, plus I put this along the top of all of them to help hold them together. So yeah, it seems to be working out really well. I've cooked many times since I put this on here, and it seems to be doing the trick, so I'm really glad that I did this. Now if you've got any ideas for this outdoor kitchen, I've had some people say that it's beginning to look like an outdoor restaurant, but if you've got any ideas, you know, put them down there in the comments. You know, I may like the comment or the idea, and I may implement it. So if you've got any good ideas, be sure and put them down there in the comments, and we'll check them out and see if it's something that we would like to, you know, do up here at the Outpost. Well, so far the siding on the house is doing really well. Now we've had several hot days, we've had a lot of sun. The only problem or defect that I have found is this right here. Basically at a knot, which was probably weak to start with right there. So when the sun started really drying on it, on the siding, it actually popped right here. But all the rest of them seem to be doing good. I went around, checked them all, and they are all doing well. I know I've got quite a few major projects coming up that I'm trying to work on, but another project is, if you remember, I didn't do anything really to these corners because they're going to get slab wood that's going to meet, and I need to go ahead, you know, and do this fairly soon. And then at every post, I went ahead and put battens up just to get all the cracks covered up except the corners. So at every post there is vertical post. If there is a batten somewhere near there, it's going to have to come off because that slab wood is going to go vertical in that section too. So there's 4 across the front, 4 across the back, and 1 in the middle on each end that are going to get vertical pieces of slab wood, but the corners will actually get 2, so it'll look like it wraps around the corner. But yeah, I'm going to have to do that pretty soon. My son, he and I, when he gets here, I've been trying to stockpile material so that we can at least build the roof of the front porch, set the post and build the roof of the front porch, so that I can go ahead and at some point in the near future get gutters and start collecting rainwater. So that is a project, and then helping me to hang the ceiling in there, especially over the bedroom and the closet area that I had finished where I'm going to put my bed and things like that. I've been sleeping on an air mattress because I didn't want to put it in there because everything is still dusty, and I wanted to be able to kind of have that somewhat finished before I actually put my bed in there. And I'll probably have to move a lot of material in there too, because now I'm moving stuff around just to work. But anyway, it's all coming together slowly, and I'm not in any rush. So if it doesn't all get done this year, then I can work on it next year. So I think he's wanting me to throw the ball. You want the ball? You want to throw the ball? You want it? He's about run to death because we've been playing ball all morning. All right, you ready? You got the ball? Yeah, good boy. Good boy. He got the ball. Yeah, he did. He got the ball. All right, ready? Ready? I actually did spread some gravel right here to allow people in the area to turn around. It does get a little bit difficult, especially if I have more than a couple extra vehicles up here, to be able to maneuver and turn around. So this does provide a little bit of a spot to do that. Originally my intentions were to kind of make a circle and come around that sawmill. So where I've got the tractor parked is probably not going to be the permanent place. I'm thinking about building some sort of a shed, workshop shed, especially where I can park the tractor up here near the house. And I do want to build a barn either off down in that hollow or maybe down towards the field. But I don't want the barn up here, but I don't want the tractor in the barn either. So I want to keep it up closer to me. So at some point there will probably be a workshop and a shed down in this area right here that I can actually pull, because originally I wanted to be able to drag the logs up to the sawmill and roll them on the sawmill, because I didn't have a front end loader at that time. But with the front end loader I can just actually pick them up and carry them and set them on there, which is a whole lot easier. But still, it would be nice if I could be able to pull and make a circle instead of having to do a 3 or 4 point turn, and be able to come right around. So and then also it would be easy access, like I said, to be able to pull the tractor off down in there. So that's probably something that I will look at in the near future. But over here is where we cut the 2x6s for the front porch. So behind me here I've got some that are actually drying, and I only needed, I think it was 22, and I ended up with 36, but I'll be able to use them all for something. I do have to take some time, and probably what I'll do is pull out 1 or 2 of the poplar logs that I have here and cut out some 1x4 stripping to be able to screw my metal to. And that's another thing I've got to do this week, is order the metal, so I'll be sure and have it when he gets here. But yeah, when I get that porch on, that'll be really nice, because like I said, it will allow me the opportunity to collect rainwater, and also it will keep the front side of the house a lot cooler, because the sun actually sets kind of over the back of the compost toilet, which the evening sun faces directly into the front of the house. It will help to keep the house a whole lot cooler, especially with that big tall ridge that's to the west of the house, because in the wintertime, about 4 o'clock, when the sun goes down over that ridge, it starts getting dark here. So in the summertime, of course, the sun is a whole lot higher in the sky. It will provide even shade for the front till probably, I would say, somewhere around 7. Because it gets dark at around 9 o'clock in the summertime here. So it will provide quite a bit of shade, and that will be really nice because it'll keep it a whole lot cooler. So I'm excited about getting that front porch. I'm not going to do the deck part. It's just going to be the porch. It's just going to be the posts and the roof because it would just make it too difficult to rock up underneath. So the deck will come later, but I do need to get that up where I can start collecting water. Oh, well, it's time to answer a few questions, so let's see what we've got here. Why do you have all those cast iron pans hanging over your cooking grate, but you cook with non-stick pans? Are they there just for looks? Well, no, they're not there just for looks, because I do cook with cast iron some. Sometimes I need one or two pans, you know, or two skillets on the stove. I have actually two fire pits there. One's a rocket stove. I also need a place to put them, so that's why I have them hanging there. But they're there just in case I need the extra area. The non-stick, the one that's got the granite in it, I don't have to use as much oil. But the cast iron, it does heat up better, and it heats up evenly, and I think that the cast iron cooks really well. But sometimes, you know, when I've got a large crowd up here, then I will have to add, you know, at least 2, maybe 3 on the grill at a time. So that's the reason that they're hanging there. Another person says, glad to see that you pray before your breakfast. Never forget who provides for us. Well, you know, we try to give God all the glory and all the credit for everything here, because, you know, it's not by ourselves that we wake up every morning. It's by His grace. And it's by His grace that we have what we have here. You know, our lives could have went in many different directions, but they ended up here. And we give Him all the glory and all the honor for that, because we do have a very nice piece of property in the Smoky Mountain area. We do or have lived a good life, you know, and it hasn't been anything that we have done on our own. It's all been by His grace, and it's all been by His guidance. You know, there's been several times that we got in the way and we messed things up, but through His grace, He saw us through those times and continued to bless us. And so we are very blessed to have what we have, and to be able to wake up every morning and enjoy those benefits. So that's why we give God all the honor and all the glory. Someone wanted to ask, could you hang a bucket on the bottom of the sawmill and collect that for the compost toilet? Well, I do use the sawdust for the compost toilet. I don't hang a bucket there, because the lower I cut the logs, then the bucket's going to be dragging the ground, because it does cut I set the sawmill closer to the ground so I wouldn't have so far to lift the logs. And so a bucket wouldn't be feasible to hang the bucket there unless I was cutting up really high. So it's not a big deal to just scoop it up with a shovel, put it in the front end loader of the tractor, take it down the hollow. That's where I've actually started a compost toilet. That's actually where I've started a compost area. I do intend on taking the blocks that I have left and making 2 bins so high, because from what the research that I've done, you can actually use the stuff from the compost toilet 12 months later if you mix it in with everything else and give it that amount of time to break down. Actually, when I take the bucket out and empty it, it's kind of hard to tell what has been in there, because I start out with a small so much of sawdust in the bottom, and then as you add to the bucket, then I take the peat moss that I've got in there and add that on top, and then I add some cedar shavings, and like I say, by the time that I empty it, it's being broken down and it's hard to tell. And that area down there that I've been dumping the sawdust and mixing that in there, that will eventually be compost that I will use. So they say it's okay 12 months later to use it on the garden, flower beds, and around trees and shrubs and things like that, just like you would anything else. So that's the reason that I don't have a bucket hanging on the sawmill. Someone else said that in the last videos you published on both channels, you do not activate the subtitles, and sometimes there are phrases that are difficult to understand. As far as I know, folks, we have opened or turned on everything that's possible on our end. I did have a comment on that somebody had sent us in response to other comments that they went back a week later and checked a video from the prior week, and the closed caption had been turned on. So I don't know if it's something on YouTube's end. I don't know if it has to be put up there for a while for it to populate or be activated. But as far as I know, every time that we upload a video, we try to make sure that everything on our end is turned on, just so that, you know, we can reach as many people as possible and in the manner that they can receive and understand the video. So, you know, there's still, you know, keep the comments coming, because there's still things that we're learning, just like the ads. You know, YouTube places those ads in there automatically. It does take a while after the video has been uploaded to YouTube for the ads to be placed in there. But, you know, when I living off grid now, where I travel to my daughter's once, maybe twice a week to upload the videos for you guys. Sometimes it takes, just for a 30-minute video, it may take 2 hours for it to upload. And she's got the fastest internet there in her subdivision that she's able to get. It just depends on how many people, you know, in the area are using the internet, because it does bog it down some. But you know, I can't afford to stay there all day to wait until the ads are populated on the video to go in there and try to maneuver them around. I know that you have some ability to do that. But down in the bottom right hand corner when you're watching a video, because this is how I watch videos on YouTube, when I tune into a channel, a lot of times before the video plays there's an ad that you can't skip. But during the video, when an ad is played, most of the time, down in the bottom right hand corner, it will say, there will be a button that says skip ad. And it usually takes about 4 seconds or 5 seconds for that video to start playing, and then that button will highlight itself, and then you just press skip and it goes right back to the video. That's how I watch videos. So I'm not really concerned with the number of ads they have in there. It's not a big deal. I have that remote. I just hit skip ad and go right back to the video. So you know, as far as the videos, you know, we try to do the best that we can to you know, do a good job on the videos. And I know that it's becoming more about the lifestyle that's up here because of all the different things that we've got going, but there's still a whole lot of projects that we're going to be doing, a lot of major projects. And you know, there's probably, good Lord willing, and the creek doesn't rise during a big thunderstorm this summer. No, I'm just teasing. You know, there'll be enough videos for probably the next 5 years going through here and doing all the major projects that we've got in mind. And then, you know, living that lifestyle here at the Outpost, you know, still continuing to film that. So, you know, the more we learn, the better we can do. And, you know, we're trying to do that to bring you good video, good entertainment, good reviews to the best of our ability. So as we learn, and we're trying to, we'll continue to get better. Somebody also says that YouTube had erased their subscription to the channel more than once, together with many of their other subscriptions. Glad that they're still able to see great things that we're doing again. You know, if YouTube, if they erase a subscription or something happens, you know, just go type in smoke in the search bar, just type in Smoky Mountain Outpost, hit subscribe again, and there you go. You know, sometimes things happen. You know, even computers, they goof up. You know, it could be cockpit error. Sometimes you hit a wrong button. Lord knows I've done that. I've done that editing. I've lost film. I've lost video and had to go back and redo it. So, you know, just start all over is all I've got to say. I've had to do that many times. You know, another thing, someone says, thank you for sharing information on your power tools and your EcoFlow power station. Always very helpful in your knowledge and skill. And I've had some comments from time to time that weren't positive about, you know, reviews that we were doing, whether it was on our main channel or on this channel right here. And so this is my response to that. If we find something that we feel is a quality item or something that's worth sharing, that's what we're going to do. Because a lot of these companies have reached out to us, and the thought never even crossed my mind that maybe I could use something like that. But when they reached out to us, my son would contact me and I would say, yeah, let's check into that. And just like that power station, I knew that at some point I might need solar, but I never thought about a small power setup like that until they reached out to us. And I'll tell you what, that thing it's incredible. And that's the reason that I reviewed it, because I felt that it was worth sharing. So, this is a good platform to be able to do that. When you're watching television, ads play, and you're either interested or you're not, and you respond accordingly. So, if we find something that we're using up here that we feel it's beneficial or could be beneficial to other people, then we're going to let you know about it, because it might be something totally new to you, and you see it and you say, hey, that's something that I can use. And so therefore that's how we communicate. We share things with everyone. Someone else said that Harbor Freight's got a 100-watt set of solar panels, comes with a charge controller for 125. They do pretty good, and can buy extra panels to add to for more power. They would charge those and keep them. I think that they're talking about the power system there. First of all, I was reading in that information that you had to use panels that were recommended for that system. So as far as just a regular solar panel, it may require a certain wattage. We've got to be sure and follow the directions, the manufacturer's directions. Otherwise, if we goof something up, the warranty wouldn't be any good. I do know that I'm going to have to at some point get a solar system up here. Again, right now my need isn't that great for it, because I'm still trying to work on the cabin and finish it. I'm trying to get prepared for when my son gets here, because I've got some big things that we're going to try to get accomplished. So I've been working towards that. But I really do need to sit down pretty soon, determine what my power needs are going to be. See, all my appliances are going to be propane. I'll need to run a circuit to the refrigerator just for the light itself when you open the door, and a few other things, but most of the house, it will kind of be half solar, half propane. Because as long as I've got the sun, I will have some form of power. As long as I've got propane, I will have some form of power. For the refrigerator, for the dryer, for the hot water heater, for the gas stovetop in there. So I want the ability to have it, even though, like being on the grid with electricity, when the power's out, I can still use the stove in there. The refrigerator would still be being kept cold. The hot water would still continue to work, so that's the reason that I'm going in that direction. But I need to figure out, like what it would take to charge my hard drives, my computer, my camera batteries, my cell phone, the fan on the stove in the wintertime, the LED lights and so forth. But I just don't feel it's going to be that great. So I may be able to start out with like 4 150, 200 watt panels, and just see how far that goes, and then have a generator, to be able to back up the system and charge it up if need be. So that's something that I have to look at in the future too. But it's all coming together slowly but surely. There's other things that I can do in the meantime in order to survive. So I'm working at it. And cost is another factor in there, being able to afford those things, because the solar, that's a major commitment. Even the water collection system, that's a major commitment. Just the guttering for this house is going to be probably no less than $1,000, and that's just on the front and on the back, basically 80 feet. I've already checked into some of that, and one person wanted $2,800 to do it. So the cheapest one that I found was right at $1,000. So that's a major commitment. So I'm getting ready to run into some really major expenses. So again, what I do up here is it's dictated by cost, and I'm retired now and on a fixed income, so I have to be able to, make sure that I have the funds available. Somebody also did comment that they said that they had read on the EcoFlow website an interesting fact that two 110 watt solar panels would fully charge the system in 4 to 8 hours. So I think your peak hours are like 6 hours during the day. So that should be enough to charge it, fully charge it. But no, like I said earlier, there would be days where you may not have good sunshine, and you may need some sort of backup to be able, based on your needs, to be able to recharge your system. Well, guys, I tell you what, I've got to run to town, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down here. But my son, my daughter, and I, we really appreciate all of your support on both of our channels, this one, Outpost Review, and Smoky Mountain Outpost. Thank you so much for sharing our content with your family and friends. It really means a great deal to us. That's the reason that we do the giveaways every month. That's the reason that we decided to do the new milestone giveaways, so that everybody could be a part of the growth of this channel, because if it wasn't for you all, this channel wouldn't be anywhere. So thank you very much from the bottom of our heart for all of your support. We hope that everyone has a great day. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.